Welcome back. Let's look at a few more examples of using the percent equation. And let's go ahead and rewrite our equation. We know our percent equation is base times rate equals part. Okay? And where our rate is going to be expressed as a percentage or a fraction, but usually a percentage, and our base is the total of what we're working with. Our part is just a piece of the base. That's usually what we want to find out, and we can express this formula as B times R equals P for short. So this is our equation. As long as we're given two pieces of information, we can manipulate this to solve for the unknown that we're looking for. Okay, so let's do a few examples of this. Let's say we want to find 10.2% of 51.5. 10.2% of 51.5. All right, so let's identify our parts here. Let's see, we have a percent sign here, which means this is our rate, and then we have the keyword of, which means this is our base. We want to find a part of the total. So we have our rate and our base here, so which means our equation is already solved for what we want to find. We want to find our part is going to equal base times rate. So 51.5 times rate. Now we need to convert this into a decimal or a fraction, but since this is already a decimal, we're going to keep it as such. If we can simply cancel the percent sign and move the decimal 2 places to the left, this will give us 0.102. If that was a little confusing to you, go ahead and review the videos on converting percents to decimals, percents to fractions and such. They'll give you a quick refresher about how we got this. Okay, now all we do is to find the part, we simply multiply these two together. We have 5.2532. Here we're not instructed on how to round, so we'll go ahead and write out all 3 decimal places. As a rule of thumb, we always want to round to at least 2 decimal places for accuracy, unless otherwise specified. So here we're going to round to all 3 decimal places. So 5.253 is 10.2% of 51.5. Okay, just simply using our percent equation to find what's being asked. Let's look at another one. Let's say 90 is 60% of what total? 90 is 60% of what total? What total? Okay, we have a few keywords here, so let's go ahead and identify them. We have our percent sign. This means we have our rate, and we have of, which means our base, but we also have total. So this actually we should not miss this, that this is our base. This is what we want to find. So that means this is going to be our part. Okay, anytime you see of or total, that means we're working with base. So we're going to be asked to find our base. So we're going to take our equation, our percent equation, BR equals P, and we want to solve for base. So what we're going to do is divide both sides by R to isolate our base. That's going to cancel, so our base is going to equal our part divided by our rate. So this is the augmented form of the equation that we want to solve. So our base is going to equal our part, 90, divided by our rate, which is 60% or 0.6. Okay, we just converted our percent into a decimal, and we solve for our base, which is 150. 90 divided by 0.6 is 150. So 150, 90 is 60% of 150. We always want to make sure our answer makes sense, and in this case it does. Okay, let's find 50% of 65. 50% of 65. We have a percent sign here, so this is going to be our rate, and we have an of, which means 65 is going to be our base. So we want to find our part, and our equation is already solved for such. Our part equals our base, 65, times our rate, which is 50%, or we can also write it as 0.5, which we'll do here since we've been doing, but you can also write it as 1/2 and just multiply it by 65. Either way, our answer will be 32.5, 32 and a half, which is 50% of 65. Okay, very straightforward. Let's do a few more just so we can make sure we've got a good handle on using the percent equation. Let's say we want to find 80% of 3/4. Okay, don't get excited here when you see a percent as a fraction. You're asked to find the percent of a fraction. We know our base, which is 3/4, because we see of, and we know our rate because it's expressed as a percent. So we basically have our formula. We're just dealing with a fraction here. No big deal. We want to find our part. So our part equals our base, which is 3/4, times our rate, which is 0.8. And since we're actually dealing with a fraction here, let's convert our decimal into a rational number. 0.8 is the same thing as 4/5. We can actually cancel these two 4s. They simplify a little bit. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. So 80% of 3/4 is 3/5. We can also put this as 0.6. And that would also be correct. So either way, check with your instructor about how they want it. We see percent and we see fractions in our exercise. So I'd just leave it as fraction personally, but check with your instructor which one that they would want your answer in. We have time to do a couple more. Let's say we want to express 1/3 as a percentage of 70. We want to express 1/3 as a percentage of 70. Okay, so let's identify our keywords here. Of screams that 70 is our base, and 1/3 is going to be a part of that. So we want to find a percentage. We want to find our rate. So let's go back and let's rewrite our percent equation. BR equals P, and we want to solve for R. We want to know what percentage of 70 is 1/3. So let's divide both sides by B, which that'll solve for R. R equals part divided by base. Okay, so let's simply plug in 1/3 divided by 70 will give us our rate. Let's go ahead and make 70 a rational number. And when we're dividing by a rational number, we rewrite the first. We don't ask why, but we flip the second and multiply. So 70 over 1, we flip that into 1 over 70. And we have two rational numbers that we can simply multiply across. 1 times 1 equals 1. 3 times 70 equals 210. 1 over 210 is the same as 0.0048%. Okay, we went ahead and rounded it to 4 decimal places since this is a small number and we want to get some accuracy here. So 0.0048% is the percent or the rate of 70. We want to find 1/3, what part of 70 is 1/3, and that is the percentage. That's the rate of it. Okay. Hope that didn't confuse you. Let's go ahead and squeeze in one more. We want to find what percentage of 3/4 is 3/5. What percentage of 3/4 is 3/5? Our percentage is what we find. We want to find the rate. Of 3/4 means that this is our base, and 3/5 is going to be our part. So we have our equation BR equals P, and we want to solve again for R. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by B to give us R equals part over base, and we can plug in and solve. R equals part, which is 3 over 5, divided by base, which is 3 over 4. I'm trying to squeeze this in here. We saw that dividing rational numbers, we have 3/5 multiplied. We flip the bottom one, 4/3. We can cancel these 3's, give us 1 and 1, and then we have 4 over 5. 4/5 is our answer, or you can write it as 0.8. Either one, 0.8 or 4 over 5 is expressed as a percentage. 3/4 is 3/5. 3/5 is the part of 3/4, and it's 3/5 is 80% of 3/4. Okay, so be sure to go over this again. We're using a percent equation. We need to get a good handle on this before we move on. So I'll see you soon.